This morning, as I was doing cardio, I got to watch the whole episode of NXT and kind of catch up on it a little bit, which I thought was really cool. And I enjoyed it. I think Ethan Page is doing a great job. I love seeing his promos. I love seeing him in that heel role of all ego. I think that's where he excels and he's at his best. So I was pretty pumped for that, and I thought it was a pretty solid episode. Once again, I was trying to familiarize myself with most of their performers and their characters there, because I love the fact that this TNA NXT agreement is going on, and there's a little bit of a trade-off here, there, and everywhere, and I think that's going to continue to grow as time goes on. So definitely making sure I'm familiarizing myself with everyone on NXT.
There are a lot of people online, Matt, saying that they don't see how this necessarily helps TNA. They see how it helps WWE by getting to use the talent. How, in your opinion, does the relationship help TNA?
I mean, WWE is the biggest platform in all of pro wrestling. NXT is part of that. NXT is still hugely popular in all walks of life when it comes to pro wrestling. And the fact that TNA is just having talents that are hot and on there, like a Joe Hendry, for instance, Frankie Kazarian, when they were on there in the Battle Royal, then that makes people like, oh, I like these guys. Like, let me seek them out now. And they will look for them. So yes, it does. It absolutely helps TNA. And the thing that I like about it, so TNA and AEW, they had a bit of an agreement at one point, but I know like Tony would always talk trash on TNA. And this one seems like it is a little bit more mutually respectful in some ways. You have someone from TNA show up at NXT, you have someone from NXT show up at TNA, and I'm just really excited where this is going to go going forward, and I like the way it's being handled thus far.
When you say talk trash on TNA, I just want to clarify, you're not talking backstage, Tony's talking shit about TNA, you're saying on camera in like an invasion style way.
I mean, Tony would do those paid ads where he would pay for the ads, and he would just say AEW is so much better than TNA and this, that, and the other thing. And I mean, that's fine. If that's the approach you want to do to it, that's absolutely fine. But I also come from a place where if you're going to compete against someone, if it's an opponent in the ring, at some point you need to put them over so that they look credible and they could beat you, or if they do beat you, so you don't just like talk about how awful they are and then they beat you, so you must be awful if they beat you. I feel like it is important to put over your opposition to a degree so that they seem somewhat on the same level, especially if you're doing stuff going back and forth. But Tony chose an opposite route, and that's fine. I mean, it was something different, and maybe it worked at the time, where he would just talk about how much better that AEW was than TNA.
Yeah, well, again, that approach was very much like, this is an invasion storyline versus this. It's very much collaboration. So they're two very different approaches to representing that relationship. And I guess we'll see which one ends up being more fruitful in the end. Interesting. You got your eyes on people there. It's who knows? Never know. Anything can happen in the extreme life of Matt Hardy.
Anything can happen in the extreme life of Matt Hardy. One thing that I always tell people that are aspiring wrestlers, and they ask like, what advice would you give me as a wrestler? And usually what I sum it up with is just like, make it a lifestyle. Because like, if you want to make it every day, you need to be eating a certain way. You need to be working out in the gym, training in the ring, working on your persona, your character, whatever you're going to be doing. And something else that is very important and crucial that I really stress to people more than anything else is like, know your rosters, know everyone that is at WWE, know everyone at AEW, know everyone at NXT, know everyone at Ring of Honor, know everyone at TNA, know everyone at MLW, know everyone at NWA, because you never know if you're a new young wrestler where you're going to get an opportunity. If you get an opportunity at NWA and you walk in and you don't know people there, then you're doing yourself a disservice. If you walk into MLW or you walk into TNA and you don't know the people there, you're doing yourself a disservice. So even as my old ass, just sat back and watched NXT. So I'm going to familiarize myself with everyone there. And there's a lot of new young guys that are just, getting their start and really, really beginning their careers. So, I just wanted to catch up on all that and be familiar with everyone.